10. Bragi. Bragi isn't a warrior. He doesn't hurl thunder or ride into battle. But in the halls of the gods, his power is undeniable. He is the god of poetry, music, and memory, the voice that preserves the deeds of gods and mortals alike. In a mythology built on oral tradition, Bragi is what ensures no story is ever truly lost. He's often pictured with a long beard, a harp or lyre, and a calm presence, a stark contrast to the storm of violence around him. He's married to Idun, the goddess who guards the apples of immortality. Together, they represent renewal, legacy, and the preservation of divine power. Bragi's role in Ragnarok isn't clear. The sources don't say if he dies in the final battle. But his absence from the fight may be the point. Not every god wields power with a sword. Bragi's weapon is language, and his gift is remembrance. It's said that in Valhalla, Bragi welcomes the honored dead and sings of their victories. In a world where gods fall and fate is unstoppable, Bragi reminds us that memory outlasts death. He may not be the strongest, but when the final flame burns out, it's Bragi's voice we'll hear echoing last. 9. Heimdall. Heimdall stands at the edge of the cosmos, silent, focused, and armed with destiny. He is the guardian of Bifrost, the rainbow bridge that links Asgard to the rest of the realms. His senses are unmatched. He can hear grass grow, see for hundreds of leagues, and never needs sleep. Heimdall isn't just alert, he's omnipresent. He carries the Gjallarhorn, a horn so loud it will shake the 9 realms when he sounds it. And when he does, it means one thing: Ragnarok has begun. Heimdall's story is one of stillness before the storm. He doesn't intervene in godly politics. He watches, waits, guards, but his role in the end is critical because when the final battle begins, he faces Loki, the traitor and chaos bringer. And in one of mythology's most poetic moments, Heimdall and Loki kill each other, the Watcher and the Trickster locked in fatal symmetry. Heimdall's power isn't just vigilance, it's knowing what's coming and standing ready anyway. He's the final alarm. The boundary, the last gatekeeper of divine order, and when he falls, the flood of chaos follows. 8. Njord. Njord is not a warrior god. He doesn't lead armies or hurl lightning, but his power runs deep, steady, and ancient like the sea he rules. He is a Vanir god, not Aesir, part of the older, nature-focused pantheon. After the war between the Aesir and Vanir, Njord was one of the gods exchanged in the peace deal. He now lives in Asgard, but his heart belongs to the coast. Njord rules the sea, the wind, and prosperity. He brings safe voyages, bountiful fishing, and wealth from trade. For seafaring Vikings, Njord wasn't just a deity, he was survival. He's also the father of 2 powerful gods, Freyja and Freyja. Through them, his legacy stretches into love, war, fertility, and fate. Unlike many gods, Njord survives Ragnarok. He returns to Vanaheim, his ancestral home, after the chaos ends. While fire and frost consume the cosmos, Njord is a reminder that some powers are cyclical, they retreat, but they return. He's quiet strength, unshaken by ego. A god of tides, wealth, and endurance, a power that outlasts destruction. 7. Tyr. Tyr is the god of law, war, and heroic sacrifice, and he wears his bravery like a missing hand. When the gods needed to bind Fenrir, the monstrous wolf fated to kill Odin, it was Tyr who stepped forward. Only he dared place his hand in Fenrir's mouth as a gesture of trust. And when the trap snapped shut, he lost his hand and never flinched. That moment defines Tyr, a god who does what must be done no matter the cost. He doesn't boast, he doesn't bargain, he acts. Tyr's role in Ragnarok is less famous than others, but it's no less vital. In the final battle, he faces Garm, the blood-soaked hound of hell. The two kill each other, a brutal, symbolic echo of Tyr's first sacrifice. He may not have Thor's strength or Odin's foresight, but Tyr is pure resolve. When law and chaos collide, he's the blade that doesn't blink even when it bleeds. In a mythology obsessed with fate, Tyr represents duty not to survive, but to stand for what's right. Even when you know you'll lose. 6. Baldr. Baldr is the most beautiful, most beloved, and most tragic of the Norse gods. He shines literally. His presence brings peace, joy, and light. He's the son of Odin and Frigg, and everything in the cosmos loves him, except one thing: mistletoe. After Baldr dreams of his death, Frigg makes everything in creation swear not to harm him. Everything obeys except mistletoe, which she overlooked. Loki finds this weakness. He crafts a dart of mistletoe, hands it to Baldr's blind brother Hodder, and guides his hand. Baldr falls, pierced by what shouldn't have killed anyone. His death isn't just a tragedy, it's a cosmic turning point. With Baldr gone, the gods know Ragnarok is coming. Baldr doesn't fight in Ragnarok, he dies before it begins. But he plays a role after. In some versions of the myth, Baldr returns after the destruction, bringing a new age of light and peace. His power isn't in weapons or war. It's in what he represents: light, hope, and the cost of prophecy. Even the gods couldn't escape their fate, not even the brightest among them. 5. Freyja. Freyja is often called the goddess of love, but that's only part of her story. She is also a goddess of war, death, and Seidr, a powerful form of Norse magic that bends fate itself. Her beauty is legendary, but so is her power. She rides a chariot pulled by cats. She wears the Brisingame, a glowing necklace crafted by dwarves, and she is feared by gods and giants alike. Freyja is Vanir, like her brother Freyja and father Njord, but she lives among the Aesir, a bridge between worlds. She taught Odin magic. She chooses half the slain warriors in battle. Yes, half of the dead go to Freyja, not Odin. Her hall, Folkvanger, rivals Valhalla in honor. She's not just powerful, she's respected, even in a pantheon full of violent gods. Freyja's fate at Ragnarok is uncertain, which in Norse mythology usually means survival or transcendence. She doesn't fall in the final battle, but she also doesn't flee from it. She endures like the primal forces she represents: life, death, love, and fate, and she's complex. Freyja weeps tears of gold for her missing husband. She wages war. She bargains with giants. She is both giver and taker of life. In a mythology dominated by men and violence, Freyja is proof that true power doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, enchants, and chooses who lives and who dies without ever lifting a sword. She's not just a goddess, she's a force. 4. Freyja. Freyja is a god of peace, prosperity, and fertility, but don't mistake that for weakness. He rules over sunlight, harvests, and abundance, bringing growth to fields and peace to kingdoms. He commands respect across the realms, not through fear, but through balance and generosity. Freyja is the twin brother of Freyja and the son of Njord. Like them, he's Vanir, but after the Aesir Vanir truce, he becomes one of Asgard's most honored gods. He's given Ulfheim, the realm of the light elves, as a gift. But Freyja has a tragic flaw. He gives up his sword, a magical blade that fights on its own, to win the love of a giantess named Njord. That decision seals his fate. At Ragnarok, Freyja faces Surtur, the fire giant. With no weapon to defend himself, Freyja fights bravely and dies in the flames. A god of peace undone by the war he chose not to prepare for. Still, Freyja's legacy is rich. He represents life, love, and leadership without cruelty. His downfall is a reminder. In Norse myth, even peace comes with a price, and even gods can fall in love with their doom. 3. Loki. Loki is chaos, not just a god, but a shapeshifter, schemer, and cosmic wildcard. He's the blood brother of Odin, the mother of a horse, the father of monsters, and the spark that lights the end of the world. At first, Loki is a friend to the gods. He helps Thor retrieve his stolen hammer. He outwits enemies. He brings laughter and clever solutions until the jokes go too far. His mischief becomes malice. He orchestrates the death of Baldr, the most beloved of the gods. When caught, he mocks the gods at their feast, curses their names, and is bound beneath the earth with venom dripping onto his face. But he's not gone, just waiting. At Ragnarok, Loki breaks free. He leads an army of giants, fire demons, and the dead. His children, Fenrir the wolf and Jormungandr the serpent, bring ruin, and Loki himself faces Heimdall. They kill each other. Loki isn't powerful in the way Thor or Odin are. He doesn't rule, he destabilizes. And that's his role, to challenge the order, to reveal its flaws, and to break what refuses to bend. Some say he's evil, others say he's necessary. Because in Norse myth, even the gods aren't infallible, and every golden hall casts a shadow. Loki is that shadow, clever, cruel, and inevitable. He doesn't just die at Ragnarok, he makes it happen. 2. Thor. Thor is the strongest of the Norse gods, the roaring defender of Asgard and Midgard alike. Son of Odin and the earth goddess Njord, Thor is the god of thunder, storms, and strength. He rides a chariot pulled by goats and wields Mjolnir, the hammer that levels mountains and always returns to his hand. Thor isn't subtle. He doesn't scheme. He smashes. He's the god's first line of defense, especially against the giants of Jotunheim. Whether crossing rivers in the storm, lifting a serpent disguised as a cat, or fishing for the world serpent, Thor fights chaos with raw force and relentless will. But even Thor can't escape fate. At Ragnarok, he faces his greatest enemy, Jormungandr the Midgard serpent, a monstrous child of Loki so large it encircles the world. The two clash in an earth-shattering battle. Thor kills the serpent, but takes 9 steps before he falls, poisoned and broken. It's one of the most iconic deaths in myth, not because Thor loses, but because he wins and still dies. Victory and death together, like a true Viking end. Thor is more than a fighter. He represents protection, honor, and loyalty. He doesn't manipulate fate like Odin or twist it like Loki. He meets it head-on, hammer in hand. And in doing so, he becomes a symbol of heroic sacrifice, a god who doesn't back down, even when he knows he won't rise again. 1. Odin. Odin is the All-Father, the king of the Aesir, and no god in Norse mythology is more complex. He's a god of wisdom, war, magic, and death, but also of poetry, prophecy, and madness. He rules from Valhalla, surrounded by the souls of fallen warriors. His 2 ravens, Hugin and Munin, fly across the world to bring him news. His wolves follow him in battle, and he sits on Eichlith's Gjalf, the high seat from which he sees all realms. But Odin's greatest power isn't strength, it's sacrifice. He traded an eye for wisdom at Mimir's well. He hung himself from Yggdrasil for 9 days to learn the runes. He speaks to the dead, defies fate, and constantly seeks knowledge not to change destiny but to understand it. And still he knows he will die. At Ragnarok, Odin faces Fenrir, the monstrous wolf, child of Loki. Despite all his preparations, Odin is devoured. His death is a climax, not a failure, but of inevitability. The wisest god couldn't escape the very fate he studied all his life. Odin is the mind behind the gods, the one who united the realms, prepared the dead, and shaped the future, even knowing he wouldn't see it. He is power, sacrifice, strategy, and surrender. Because in Norse myth, true greatness isn't about living forever. It's about choosing how you meet the end. And Odin, he meets it with full knowledge of what's coming and goes anyway.